So what Google did to Yahoo and other search engines back then, ChatGPT and other similar searches will do to Google. I am not so worried about the generative AI and all. This is entertainment, right? So you can write your LinkedIn post with or your responses with generative AI. This is some fancy flirting. You go to a new college, 20 new girls are there. You try your luck at everything. But
You have had a long career in IT, non-IT, variety of roles. How did you survive for so long?
obviously, everything is not positive. I have also been fired once, and like many other people, I've had multiple setbacks. We can't blame neighbor and neighbor's dog and everybody else for that.
They are kind of worried that, 10 years down the line, let's say we are in 2023, and if they have to fast forward and look at 2033 or 2035, will they be able to survive? If yes, then how?
This is one of those questions that if you find the answer, it will no longer be relevant. AI will not take your job. Somebody who knows AI will take your job. We want the outcome of the people who are in that 1%, but effort and competence is of the remaining 99. Do you have 10 people you can reach out to in times of stress? 10, just 10. No need for 20,000 connections, 40,000, 100,000 followers. 10 people. Can we list 10 people? 5 people?
Hi everyone, we are starting a new podcast series on this channel, and our first guest is none other than Anshuman Tiwari. Anshuman has more than 25 years of experience in IT and non-IT industries. He is a LinkedIn top voice and he has more than 46,000 followers on LinkedIn. He has worked in companies like Infosys as a program manager quality and principal quality programs. He has also worked in variety of leadership roles at HSBC, and then he worked as a transformation director at Ernst and Young. His latest stint is at DXC Technology, where his role is Director, Head of Operational Excellence. So I had the fortune of talking to Anshuman for around 30 minutes, where I asked him questions about his long-term career growth, how did he sustain and survive, what is his advice for people in their 30s and 40s, what is his view on AI and the impact of AI. So he has shared some real wisdom nuggets in this particular conversation. I highly recommend that you listen to this entire podcast and extract as much as value as you can. Let's get started. Hi Anshuman, good morning. Thanks for joining me.
Morning. Thanks for this invitation and happy to be on your show.
I absolutely love your work on LinkedIn and otherwise as well. And I believe strongly that a lot of people watching this video on my channel specifically will love to hear from you because you have wealth of experience. So, thank you so much for joining in here. It's an absolute pleasure to have you.
Same here. I've enjoyed your YouTube videos and your crisp writing style on LinkedIn. So try to learn from it, but far from it. So I think, yes, as you said, experience, but experience is also sometimes, Anand, the factor of age and longevity. So the only thing we can do is that whatever experience we get, we can learn from it and hopefully share. So in that spirit, on your show that we've had reasonable innings, some more years to go. But what use is this experience if you can't share it?
Yeah, agree. So Anshuman, to that point, my first question to you is, you have had a long career in IT, non-IT, variety of roles. How did you survive for so long? And what kind of roles did you play? Because a lot of time people have this question that beyond 40, is there a future? Okay, so a lot of time people are worried, and that's why we would love to hear your journey and how did you survive and thrive?
So firstly, I think like everybody else who's in this category, Anand, my story or my career is no different from others. It has had many setbacks, of course, because of the advent of social media and because people like to, when they hear you on stage, they assume that, everything is positive. Obviously, everything is not positive. I have also been fired once, and like many other people, I've had multiple setbacks. In fact, if I count, I think probably more things have not worked than they have worked. So it is like a cricket match also, right? So we sometimes count the dot balls as success, but there were other balls which were failure, or limited failure.
Correct.
So perseverance and resilience is something that I have truly believed in. And just as background, I don't have any fancy or very robust education background. I mean, I had a steady education background like most of the people, very modest score in 10th and reasonable in 12th, could not get through any top institute in IT or IM or anything. None of those, right? So it's a very steady, brick by brick story, which I often share, and which is representative of 99% of the people.
Correct.
And if you keep out the 1%, most of us have gone to a less than top engineering school or even earlier school, and then if we did MBA or other MTech or other such courses. So my story is the same. The only thing I think, the if you say the secret of longevity, and the secret is not just mine, it is for everybody who's been in similar thing, is some level of resilience and this understanding that we are a player in the larger game, and there will be some days which will be low and there will be other days which will be better. Not to get overburdened with these sorrows or setbacks, and not to get overexcited about the small wins here and there also. So by the same token, if you don't take the setbacks too seriously, then you should also not take the joys too seriously as well. So that would be a reasonable summary, and then we can peel some of these onions and get into it. You asked one question about the multiple roles. So
Yeah.
most of my roles have been around quality, performance excellence, delivery excellence, and that kind of space.
Correct.
Industry has changed. Most of the industries are around IT and related services. So maybe that will appeal to your audience, because a lot of your audience is in the IT industry. I've been in IT or related industries for more than 20 combined years, of course. But I also feel that this in and out that I did between roles and industries has helped me bring best practices from other industries and learn and apply. So what I can apply in my role today, I may have learned in a manufacturing setup or a professional services setup or a slightly another setup, or what you learn in a smaller company you can take to a larger company and vice versa. So that actually could be a factor. No evidence to prove that it is right, but could be a factor. Again, I would not say that anybody should deliberately use this practice. It happened for me and I took advantage of it.
Correct.
So basic principle in life and career is that whatever is happening to you may not be in your control, but learning from that is definitely in your control.
Correct.
So let life happen, but learn from it. That certainly is in our control. That we can't blame neighbor and neighbor's dog and everybody else for that.
Great points. Actually, I think the setbacks point, I definitely relate to it, because I've been in situations where things have not gone my way, and I think, like what you said, it happens to everyone. With that, let's quickly also talk about the younger people today. Let's say people who are in their mid-20s, mid-30s. What I hear from them is they are kind of worried that, 10 years down the line, let's say we are in 2023, and if they have to fast forward and look at 2033 or 2035, 10 years down the line, will they be able to survive? If yes, then how? What are the things they need to do today or in the next few years so that they have a flourishing or a sustainable career to look forward?
Good question, Anand, and frankly, nobody knows the answer. I will share what I know, and with full knowledge and humility that it is not a complete answer. In fact, this is one of those questions that if you find the answer, it will no longer be relevant. So, like Heisenberg principle, right? So, if you find the speed of the electron, its location would have changed, and so on. So, these kind of questions are explorative questions, in my view, right? So glad that you asked it in a way that you did, because I would hesitate to give a definitive answer. There is no definitive answer. Something I have learned, something you have learned, we can share. Whether that something plus something adds up for a third person who we both may not even know and is listening to this recording later on, some of the things may apply. But I would strongly urge that please use your judgment and don't blindly follow any advice that you get from people like you, me, and other people as well. That is one of the dangers of social media or YouTube.
Yeah.
Use your judgment. So the same spirit I will use. One of the areas that I have used to elongate my career, and I just don't mean a longer thing. It's a successful longer one. So
Correct.
that also we have to keep in mind. See, you can probably stay under the radar and do some, Excel work for till you are 50, 55. If you are happy with that, that's fine. But if you are listening to this recording to understand how you can take your career forward, or take up manager roles or senior manager roles or director roles, or even more senior roles, then that hiding under the radar is not going to be. Then you have to be in the war zone. So like in the war zone, if you are in the bunker and fighting, you can defend, but you can't win the war. You can defend. You can, in the sense that defense is that you may not get fired because you are doing some very low in the sense skills hierarchy, a lower level role. Not to demean any role, but it's in the sales hierarchy, it's a lower level. So you will be okay. You will be paid accordingly, and there will be lesser risk, and you will not be noticed. You will be off the radar. So this advice is not for such people. Correct. Who are happy there.
Yeah.
If they want to come out of this thing, then that risk is there that they might get a bullet. Again, using the war analogy, that if you come out in the open, you will get a bullet once in a while, because whatever path you may choose may not be the best one for you that day. So
Correct.
Now, I'll try and explain a format, and this is not my really format. Vijay Govindarajan, one of the world's leading innovation gurus, he brought up a format or a framework for organizational innovation. Okay. So what he says is that innovation succeeds in companies when they hold on to their past selectively, in the sense that one leg in the past, so that they can milk their legacy. Right? Whatever has got them here, they can milk that legacy. And second box is more like this is called the 3-box solution. Second box is selectively work on the present, which is maybe 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, so that you can make money from that as well. And third is investment, which is you make investment for 5 to 10 years down the line. Correct. So I have tried to adapt this to careers, and many other people have done it. So the way I look at it, that for example, my stronger background is in quality and related topics. So that is my legacy, right? Not that I'm done yet, but that's my legacy. So I have to protect that legacy, keep investing in it, making sure that it grows. I should remain at the top of my game. People should know me for quality and other things. That is when I will be able to protect my legacy by delivering results, by being a statesman in that space. So you protect that legacy. Usually your major income will come from your legacy. Correct. But since times are changing, you have to continue to invest in something current. Okay. So what is something current? Something current is expanding this space, looking at other related topics, maybe other industries, and so on. The investment in future which I'm making is moving into this mid-career coaching space, because in some years when I do have to make a choice of retiring from active work, what will I do? That investment is the third box. Now that may sound like expensive investment today, but it will probably put me in a position 5 years from now, or maybe longer, where that will become my legacy. So that becomes the first box. So this 3-box solution is extremely important for people in all industries, and particularly IT, because maximum change is in IT. So number 1, protect your legacy, save your legacy, keep investing in it, grow very good in it. But remember that it will phase out at some point. Correct. Yeah. So whatever technology you are using or you are expert in, that will go away. So start investing and milking some current technology. And third, stay invested in some future technology, which may mean that you might have to do a course outside of your company, because the company will not invest in your future skills. They will invest in your current skills, what you can invest, give them today. So ये खुद का पैसा लगाना पड़ेगा, that you will have to invest in some future skill. So these 3 boxes, if anybody listening to this is clear about these 3 boxes, or even partially clear, longevity is not an issue. And what I said earlier, I will repeat, that don't hide under the radar or don't stay in the bunker. You will have to come out and fight. If you come out and fight, the risk of getting a bullet is always there. Yeah. So, choice is yours. If you don't want that bullet, stay under the bunker and enjoy, and life will be fun.
Absolutely. I think a great input. Thank you, Anshuman, for that. And when you were speaking about the future, one question which popped up in my mind is, a lot of discussion these days is around AI and the impact of AI, right? So what, in your opinion, is the positive and negative side of it? And how should active people today who are in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s, how should they perceive, or how should they approach this entire AI buzz?
So frankly, Anand, AI buzz is more a buzz for people who are a little away from technology. Yes, you and I who've been in this space, we know that AI is not new. AI may seem new because today it can be in your pocket, but in the 50s and 60s, it needed a supercomputer, a large room of a computer to play the algorithm and do it. AI is also appearing to be new because there is now some deep level of machine learning possible, which wasn't possible earlier because of computing limitations. It was not because of human intelligence or human inability to think. Alan Turing in the 50s developed the famous Turing test for artificial intelligence. So this is far from new. Second, I do caution people about exercising some normal intelligence to identify whether this is artificial intelligence or not. For example, some days ago there was a very prominent ad in newspapers. This is an AI designed shirt and AI manufactured actually. So I'm to my wits end that is it an ad, clever ad, just to put the word AI into anything and everything, or is there something? Right? So you know that what are the human intelligences which machines don't have? The sense of color. So if I can see you, I can understand your color, skin tone, and all. That is a unique human intelligence. Machines still don't easily have that. So you have to program that. Depth. I can understand depth. I can stand at traffic signal and understand it. The traffic is actually this deep, not the 2D that I see. Feelings of some kind, testing, looking at your face, I can understand this guy is bored, this guy is interested, this guy is upset, angry, mad at me, or likes me, and all those things. That is uniquely human. When you are able to bring many of these uniquely human intelligences into a machine, that is some form of artificial intelligence. Very large computing is not really artificial intelligence. It is just giving what was done by 10 computers, you are putting 100 computers, or it is brute force. So brute force is not artificial intelligence because you are just putting more power to the same algorithm or the program that you had. And what could be possible in terms of computing in a year will now take 5 minutes, or what was possible in 2 hours will take 1 minute. It is not necessarily intelligent. It is brute force, right? So, and because computing power and size of chips and memory and other such, all the associated elements, I'm trying to keep it a little less technical for everybody. Is now in your phone. So it seems artificial. It is not artificial. So that is the first distinction I like to help people draw, that people don't call anything that seems clever artificial intelligence. It is not. And machine learning is part of artificial intelligence because that is the magic, right? So when the program starts learning from its own errors and all, then, or successes as well, then its output is better. So now coming to your, with this disclaimer or preamble for your, or a lecture for your students, some sense of history is also important. And this is the second important point in this. Throughout history, automations have always happened. When the first farm equipment was developed, like a plow or something, human beings were happy? No, some might have been happy. When wheel was invented, there would have been people who would have been said that this is stupidity, it will never work. God has given us brute strength, we should use our strength. The wheel is something against the will of God, and so many other things. And you keep, when gunpowder was invented, when electricity was invented, there were a lot of oppositions. When most recent, which is very popular, when horse carriages were replaced by cars again. So history is full of protest and skepticism and cynicism for any new thing that comes in. And we are no different from in today's world. So it is just the same pattern is being repeated. The pattern seems interesting because we are in it. The history seems history because we were not in it. Somebody else was suffering there. So because we are either enjoying or suffering, or we are involved in it, it seems very like it's happening to us. So that's the second point. The third is that all this takes a long time. So nothing is going to happen today and tomorrow, but certainly something is going to happen day after. So if you keep that historical perspective in mind, obviously because of several advances, the times will be crunched. So if cars took 25 years to come from factory to mainstream road and become a accepted vehicle of transport, maybe what we call artificial intelligence may go very deep within 10 years. So that time will get. So those are three key. Fourth one is more around, I am not so worried about the generative AI and all. This is entertainment, right? So you can write your LinkedIn post with or your responses with generative AI. This is some fancy flirting. You go to a new college, 20 new girls are there. You try your luck at everything. So, or vice versa. So this is just flirtation. It will be a better search. So what Google did to Yahoo and other search engines back then, ChatGPT and other similar searches will do to Google. Now it is up to Google to respond, and hopefully it will respond, because then the fight is interesting. Match will go to the last over. But I don't think this is going to fundamentally change what we do and how we. In any case, anybody who knows this space says that AI will not take your job. Somebody who knows AI will take your job. So that is extremely important. So that brings us to the concept, what can we do? So we can learn more about it. So try and understand more about it and use it. A lot of people I have met, Anand, have so much to talk about Chat GPT and Bard and Gork and all. And I have been asking them, have you used it actually?
Yeah.
No. In my kind of work, it is not useful. I mean, you believe it is not useful to you. You don't want to use it. You have not once tried it. But ज्ञान का कोई कमी नहीं है. So that is not going to go take anybody anywhere. So whether you are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever age you are, if you are not going to use it, learn from it, my suggestion is shut up and don't talk about it because you have zero clue. The last point on this AI thing, true thing that I am waiting for is the application of deep artificial intelligence in cancer screening, rainfall prediction, in flood, in earthquake aversion, maybe figuring out some better solutions in education, because humanity's core problems, forget the 10%, 5% which live in advanced, forget us also, you and I are privileged people, core problems still remain education, healthcare and agriculture. So if we can't solve those three problems, and maybe population also, if we can't solve these 3-4 problems with any new technology, I don't see how it will be beneficial for the human race. As I'm elevating the discussion to more.
Absolutely.
Rest of it is entertainment. I don't really see much, but of course, one must be fully aware. I am able to make these statements because I've invested time and effort to understand and learn more about this. So I'm giving a 2, 3, 5 minute summary in this. But again, to your audience, don't take my word. Go do some research, understand this, then figure out how it can affect you or impact you.
It definitely gives a very different perspective and a thought around how people should look at not just the current happenings, but also the future technology changes and stuff. Because also, Anshuman, one related point is a lot of people just get into tech jobs or in-demand jobs because there's a lot of money out there, okay? So they're just chasing the money trail. So when you're chasing the money trail, today it is this tech, tomorrow it is something else. So a lot of people ask me this question, in today's world, in IT, what are the top skills or top roles which pay you really high salary? Or maybe in future, what are going to be some of the top skills or top roles which will pay you better or higher salaries as compared to others? So any thoughts or inputs around that?
Sure. Like in every industry, Anand, the higher up in the value chain you are. We took an example of a shirt, right? A shirt designer definitely gets paid more than the guy who's actually stitching the shirt. Washing machine, the design concept, the microchip guy, the person or the team designing will get 100 times more salary than the person on the shop floor or the person who's selling it to you. This is true in IT as well. It is true in every field of life, by the way. So wherever you are, the closer to the source you are, the better. So be at the design source, closer. In IT sense, it primarily means product companies. So if you are in product companies and in design of that product, again, not in sales, service, because there the effects start trickling down. Now, I'm giving you a blunt answer because you asked a direct one. So the closer you are to the source in terms of product and design and all, because there is a multiplier factor, right? So what I may be able to design, let's say this recording tool that we are building, there might be a team of only 10 people which is designing that, but millions of people are using it. Look at the multiplier factor, right? The work that 10 people did. I mean, WhatsApp that we use, the core team was 8 people. That's it. And billions of people now are, at least millions, I think it has touched a billion, are using it, that service. Of course, it's very different. So in terms of income, be closer to. But then comes the question that do you have the skill set to be there? It's all okay. Where I call the 1%, 99% fallacy is that we learn the lesson from 1% people and want to apply it to 99% people. That doesn't happen. So what Elon Musk does for the week is possible for him. May not be possible at all for me. So I have to figure out what are my skill sets, what are my limitations, capabilities, and I'm not the one to ask anybody not to dream. Of course, everybody should dream, but follow that dream with competence and some effort. So difficulty is that when not only youngsters, others as well. I'm at an age where I can call most people youngsters, so because they are younger than me. So the difficulty, of course, starts there that we want the outcome of the people who are in that 1%, but effort and competence is of the remaining 99%. So this maths does not add at all. But I think simpler answer to your question, which I already shared, is that be closer to the product design. If you are in IT services, because most of your audience is from IT. If you're an IT services, again, be in jobs which have huge leverage and multiplier factor. So if one personal job can impact a large set of customer base, that job will not only always be safe comparatively, but will always have some significant dollar leverage, because we know that this person can, or this ecosystem can actually service 10 customers and not just one. Wherever there's a one-on-one or hard work or manual effort leverage that you get, you are always vulnerable, because I can always say, Anand, I think you can manage three client. Anand will die, but he has to manage. What will happen? Anand will then find some other job and say that, boss, I don't want to be killed in this. So whether you are asked to leave or you leave on your own, you will have to move on. And then the company will find somebody to actually do that job, which will sound like a dream job for that person because he was jobless. So this is how replacement strategy works, right? So people are phased out, and then for somebody else, it is dream job. So what was hell for you becomes heaven for somebody else, and that's how the overall average in the industry keeps going down. And you will find that jobs that were done by top coders 10 years ago are completely marginalized today. But skill sets, I would certainly say that don't pick particular skill set, but pick the location of the skills. Where is it in the value chain? That will make sure that you continue to do well.
Wow, great. I think that's a great point you made, especially the point on what is hell for you is heaven for somebody else. I think that's absolutely true. Great insights, Anshuman. One last question that I have for you is, because like what you said in the introduction itself, that you lost your job and then you switched multiple roles or industries. I want to come back to that point, and I want you to leave our audience with few do's and don'ts. Okay, few things you've already covered. Some of them are really solid points, but some actionables that, okay, do these three things or don't do these three things, and you will benefit in the long run. Something of that sort, some tips that you want to leave us with.
I am not a very tips person, Anand, but I'll try. See, one thing, I'm saying this in the context of 99%, right? So let me clarify once again that this session is going to be heard or seen by people who are definitely in that 99. So for most of us, you, me included, we have to work really, really hard. That is lesson number one, or tip number one, or advice number one that I give all the time, and whenever including to my children as well, is that please work extremely hard. If you are not falling to your bed at 10 p.m. or whatever time and going to sleep in 1 minute, you have not used your day properly. And this is the age, if you're 20, 25, 30, and you are just not crashing on bed and going to sleep in 1 minute, you have wasted your day. This time will not come back. Many other things will come back, but this time will not come back. So please work very, very hard is some advice I give. And I don't care whether it is a hard work, smart work, all these are book selling tips. And, so somebody will invent some smart work acronym and people will put up a poster and not do anything about it, as if that poster is now going to work hard. Poster is never going to work hard. we still have to work hard. So,
Yeah.
So tip number one, work hard. Tip two, be intentional about your career. So your career is your responsibility. It has always been throughout history. Nobody else, including your company, government, society, United Nations, nobody is interested in your individual's career. They might be interested in a particular career as a en masse, right? So as a category. But Anand Vaishnapai and Anshuman Tiwari are not on United Nations radar for career longevity. So only we are. So that intentional nature, think about your career, take some time off, keep your phone away, go for a long walk, talk to people, get some mentors, coaches, listen to Anand's podcast and or other similar ones where you will get some views on what you might be doing. Because when you're isolated, I keep saying this, that for most of us, only our grandmother and mother is interested in our looks. Nobody else cares. Same is for our career and skills.
Yeah.
So we overthink all of this. We have to be invested in our own career. So unless we do this intentional thinking, kuch nahi hoga. So intentional thinking, I shared one or two formats. One framework was that think of 3 boxes, invest, protect the past, milk the current one, or at least try and invest in the future. So what are your 3 boxes? So all those listening people, you draw out your 3 boxes. See what are your 3 boxes. So that would be the second one. And a derivative, of course, the third one is that keep talking to people, coaches and all, and listen to all this, learn something new, which is the second and third box, and be a little bit more open also. Now, another framework is of career transitions also on, and you will know this very well. But since you mentioned that when I had that career accident, I was actually able to find something within 1 month. And that happened because I already had a broader network. I had invested in that network. So when that unfortunate situation arose, I was able to quickly leverage it to some extent and remain grateful for that. So I avoided that accident to actually hurt me. But most people look for networking opportunities or skill sets when that letter already lands in their inbox. That is stupidity. Your house is already down and you are going running for a bucket with and water, which is then never going to be.
Yeah.
So the old saying is quite adequate here. Third one I would say is invest in your network a little bit. I'm not saying become heavily active on LinkedIn or become a top voice, but do something. Do you have 10 people you can reach out to in times of stress? 10, just 10. No need for 20,000 connections, 40,000, 100,000 followers. 10 people. Can we list 10 people? 5 people. So that is my message to youngsters that, have 5, 10 people, real people whom you can call and take some input and advice from. Not your 20,000 on LinkedIn and 55,000 on Instagram and, 1 million on YouTube or whatever. I mean,
Correct.
those are atmospheric conditions. So when you need oxygen in hospital, you don't pray for the atmosphere to give you oxygen. You need that oxygen, right? So where is your oxygen mask? So those are those 5, 10 people. So these 3 areas I would think strongly urge youngsters, younger than me. I'm also a youngster, but younger than me to adopt. So yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. I think great inputs, Anshuman. It was really a very insightful discussion, some pearls of wisdom for everybody who is listening to this. If you guys have further questions, feel free to make comments. I'll request Anshuman to read the comments once in a while and respond to them. I'll try to do as well. But thank you for taking time, Anshuman, once again. This was our first episode, like I said, and we will definitely want to know a lot more from you. So in future, I would request you to once more help us with such great, insightful, real talk, right? So I think this is what people really gain when they talk to somebody who is ahead of them, has seen more quarters, or has seen more releases, or has seen more deliveries, more experiences. So yeah, thank you for that. Absolute pleasure, Anshuman.
My pleasure, and all the best to your audience and you as well, Anand.
Good. Thank you, Anshuman. Thanks. Bye. See you. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.